Satang Prasanga.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. I pray that all is well with you and your families during this difficult time we're all going through. So today we're on Sutra number 17, and it goes as follows. Chant Hare Krishna, study Shastra, and take shelter of his service. Expand the time of your sadhana. Depend upon him. Don't depend upon yourself. Move forward with deliberate dependence upon Krishna and his words. Focus your consciousness upon him and remain in that focus. As we moving on through the different sutras, we're getting deeper and deeper into the inner recesses of the heart. And we are seeing that it's not so easy to try to understand ourselves. There's a very beautiful description in Nectar of Devotion that describes how that these 6 enemies that we have, lust, anger, greed, hatred, envy, and illusion, in and themselves they are not bad because they can be dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. The difficulty we're facing is the desire for these things. So in and itself, lust can be dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. But the desire for lust, that cannot be dovetailed. That is our prerogative. That lies within our hands. So therefore, Krishna consciousness is one of the only processes that roots out from the root. I remember when we were in primary school, one day we had a huge cyclone. And the next day we go to school, and our favorite oak tree, that tree in which everyone used to play under, the tree had collapsed due to the cyclone. And the school principal had ordered a tractor to remove it because half the root was still in the ground. And this tractor, and for us as little kids, it was like a huge fun. Oh, to see this big tractor struggling to pull, we voting for the tree, we supporting the tree, and the tractor is struggling to pull this tree, and he's got huge chains, and the back wheels are spinning, and he can't remove this thing. It took him 1 hour to move this way and that way and that way and that way, and eventually he managed to pull the root out. And it was a huge root. We just looked at the surface, but the root had gone right in. So it was very difficult to take it out. So I was remembering that yesterday when we were trying to understand this point, that when something is rooted, it's very difficult to take it out. And that's our problem. We have desires that are contaminated, that are not aligned with Krishna. And because of that, when we do, desiring in itself is natural, but desiring separate from Krishna is not natural. And that's our situation. That's where we find ourselves most of the time. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada gives the example of licking the honey bottle. Srila Prabhupada also uses it quite a lot. So we can see the honey. We know what the honey tastes like. We have some experience of it. But what we're doing, we're licking the bottle of the honey. So we have all the information about Krishna, but why are we not getting an experience of the taste? Is because we're not taking the honey directly. We're licking the bottle. So we may have information about Krishna, we may know about Krishna, we may have the books about Krishna, but to get to where we're going with these sutras, it needs practical application. You have to do the application with understanding to yourself. You have to understand where is this taking me and what level. You can see we are reaching deeper recesses of ourselves by analyzing in this way. But the panacea is that Krishna is Dina Bandhu, Dinanath. He's the one who's most favorable to his devotees, and he's supporting us, he's guiding us through insight. Yesterday we spoke about intuition. So he will tell us from inside, do it like this, do it like that. He'll guide if we're willing to hear that voice. Now, to hear that voice means we got to put the voice of the mind down. We got to soften or switch off the mind's voice, because the mind also chatters, and many times it's louder than the voice of the Lord. So that's why we don't hear him. So we got to switch off that. It says here, chant Hare Krishna, study Shastra, and take shelter of his services. So by doing sadhana, it's a very easy way to connect. And Prabhupada would say the panacea for all problems of life, just chant Hare Krishna. Just take shelter of the holy names. And he showed us by his example. Whenever he was in difficulty, he would just take shelter of Krishna's holy name. It says here, devotional service, and do some kind of service, because by engaging in service, we engage the mind, and by serving someone, we become attached to him. Remember, we're moving away from just praying to the Lord to now developing a loving relationship with the Lord. So it goes on to say, expand the time of your sadhana. Try and spend a little more time with Krishna activities. Spend a little more time with activities that, if you like reading more, fine. If you like chanting more, fine. There are 9 processes of devotional service. Try to connect with any one of those. Depend upon him, don't depend upon yourself. When we have difficulty, the first thing is that we cry. We try to solve it from our situation, and why has this happened to me? Because it's so uncomfortable. And if we think about our childhood, it's a natural byproduct of the way we behaved as children as well. Difficult situation, you just cry. But in Ramayana, there's a beautiful extract that comes there. When Lord Ram had come back to Ayodhya, and everybody was so joyous, and prayers and so many wonderful things were going on. And Lord Ram comments that Ayodhya is full of prayers, but no tears. Wow. Yeah, full of prayers, but no tears. We have to move to the point of just praying to the Lord, to the point of crying for the Lord. You can only cry if you are deeply emotionally connected. The fact that we don't cry for Krishna, we cry because of our problem, because we emotionally connected to the problem. But we don't cry for Krishna because we haven't considered what he's done for us. We haven't really appreciated the things that he has done for us. 90% of our lives we take for granted. So when we start appreciating small things, it builds up to greater appreciation and a greater way in which we can appreciate what he's done for us so far. His Holiness Gaur Govinda Maharaj used to say, I've opened up a crying school for Krishna. If you come here, you will be crying for Krishna. And this is the mood that we want to go towards, crying for Krishna. We don't just want to offer prayers in the lips. We want to offer prayers in the heart. That's where it really counts. That's when Krishna really, that's when the real yoga takes place. Yoga yunja mat ashraya. That connection we want to feel. And that's an experience of feeling it. It's not a point of knowing it or rationalizing it or understanding it. It's a point of feeling. We're moving towards feeling now, not towards understanding and explanation and rationalizing. And that's a very deep part of who we are, where our feelings are kept. So we see here, it says, move forward with deliberate dependence upon Krishna. What is going to give us that faith of deliberate dependence upon Krishna? We have to, as we sang yesterday and the day before, understand His mercy. Remember, if Krishna doesn't give, this is the essential element of understanding Krishna. If Krishna doesn't give His mercy, then without mercy, there's nothing about Krishna that we can understand. Everything we understand about Krishna is due to mercy. If mercy is there, then you can understand His nature. If mercy is there, you can understand His opulences. If mercy is there, you can understand His greatness. If mercy is there, you can understand His sweetness. Without mercy, none of these things can be understood. So that's the essential ingredient, trying to understand His mercy. Krishna and His words. Focus your consciousness upon Him and remain in that focus. Focus your consciousness upon Him and remain there in that focus. We see, I was reading something very nice yesterday, where the great devotees, they are praying that, my Lord, look at me. Just look at me, look at my situation. I'm mad after sense gratification. I'm mad after material things in this world. I'm mad after material relationships. So if I'm already mad, just change that madness to be so that I become mad after you. Just such a beautiful prayer. So we see in Bhagavad Gita, these devotees who are praying like this, how are they praying like that? It's because they focused on the reality, the flow of Prakriti. They focused on that nature. And because they're so deeply focused on that nature and not the created nature of society that we live in, therefore they can connect to the higher realm, to the higher dimension of reality. And they can live in that. They live in this world, but they're not of this world. Bhagavad Gita explains this point very beautifully, where Krishna is saying, 7.1, it's one of the verses that Prabhupada commented most on in the Bhagavad Gita. He gave the most amount of lectures. Maya Shakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjan Matashraya Ashamshaya Shamagrama Yata Gyasnasi Takshanu. Says Arjun, Maya Shakta Manapartha, get your mind attached to me. Yogam, in yoga, Yogam Yunjan Mat Ashraya. Take Ashraya, shelter of me through this yoga path. And by practicing this path of getting your mind attached to me, Ashamshaya Shamagrama, without a doubt, faith requires one part of being doubtful is that we don't have enough faith. But Krishna is saying, Ashamshaya, don't doubt. Shamagrama, just take shelter of me. And Yata Gyasnasi Takshadu, hear what I'm saying to you. Listen. Listen. He's telling Arjuna, listen to me, Arjuna. So it's a very deep request from Krishna, and it's the verse Prabhupada spoke on the most from Bhagavad Gita. So I hope you enjoyed the class today. Please join us again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.